Hello. Sorry, I always think I need to come up with a really good introduction or something like that, and I literally all I did, I moved my big mug of tea out of the way so I could press like change view, and then I was like, here I am. Hello everyone. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and this is Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs, which is basically a stream where for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how I'm feeling and how difficult the book is, I read through some tabletop RPGs, either quick starts or free to look at books, and get a sense of the different RPG systems, because that's what my speciality is. I run What Am I Rolling, which is a twice monthly RPG one-shot podcast. Let me quickly do the thing. There we go. So you can go check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. And my phone just went off, telling me that my event is now live. How wonderful! Thank you, thank you, hotkeys. Yes, I hope you're all doing well for a Sunday. The reason this stream was supposed to start at 10, and I was like, oh, I'll start earlier, just because I just finished my improv team that I've been coaching for the last couple of weeks. They just had their first live improv show, actually online, rather than me recording it in the Zoom room, and I think it went really, really well, and they did a really, really good job. And so I'm like, oh, I'm not a complete failure. Five to six people did actually enjoy my format, I guess. So that was really fun, and they seemed to have a good time, and so they did their show. And it was a very interesting show. Basically, I taught them this format called the documentary, where basically we create a fictional documentary based on a suggestion, and usually it's about a place, but last time we did one about an event, which was really, really fun. Think of stuff like Fire Festival, or Cheer was the one I use as an example, where it's all about following a certain team doing stuff, or even Mudbloods was the other one I referenced to, the Quidditch documentary, which I'm not in. I have to clarify that I'm not in it, but I know several people who are in it because I used to play Quidditch a long, long time ago. And yeah, I think they got it, and they seem to enjoy it, and they want to continue doing it, but unfortunately I won't be able to coach them because I won't have time, because I'm super boring and whatnot. Oh, what? Hey, how's it going? Hello, Toothbrush. Hello. Oh, you're everywhere. Hello, Dan. Hope you're doing all right. Yes, it is. I know, a liveware on a Sunday, but with the sound on YouTube. You know what, Dan? You do you, man. I don't know how you do it. I just imagine now you've got too many screens. You're like that guy. You're the guy in the chair, right? I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for joining me on a late night. I was just explaining, just show my team that I've been coaching for the last 10 weeks. They did their first it was basically like a winter ball, we called it. So there's all the teams did shows, and I think they did very well. So I was like, well, I'll start the stream a little bit earlier because this is probably going to be the last stream I do this year, and the boring news is that I have to go up to my parents. Ugh. Oh no, I have to be looked after and fed for a good amount of time, and then obviously when I come back, December is a void. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, that you feel like there's lots of stuff going on, but ultimately you just sit around and do nothing other than watch The Chase on TV or Gogglebox. That's our little guilty pleasure just now, is watching Gogglebox, which I have to admit I didn't think I'd ever enjoy. Fucking love it. One of those things going, I would be good on Gogglebox. So I don't know whether we should maybe again, this is an idea for those of you in the chat. It's about doing what was I going to say? It's about doing you watching stuff and then obviously commenting on it. So I can imagine if those people in the chat, if you guys are still there, watching actual players going, idiots, I wouldn't have done that, or oh no, what have we got going on? Oh my lord, that would be so good. Parents looking after you. Heck, I agree. Secret Film Club was our Gogglebox. You're absolutely right, Hazard Stripes. Secret Film Club was our Gogglebox, but a lot of the time it's just us going, watching it. So if anything, Gogglebox was slightly edited down, whereas we were like, oh no, every so often. So that is fair. We could do it watching APs though. Science mystery theatre style. Of course, yeah. Weirdly, that kind of passed me by a little bit, but I watched some of the newer stuff that they did, which was okay, and then I went back and I watched some of the older stuff, and that was much more palatable, even though it is what it is. What was I going to say? I saw, what was it? I'm doing a podcast edit whilst checking out this TLDR. Yes, I actually did my own edit just before the show. Hamilton will be glad to know that episode 2 is all ready to go of the mortuary. And I managed somehow to make sense of our combat. Basically, it's one of those things that it's a one-on-one session, and it went really, really well. I enjoyed it. I'm sure Hamilton will also say he enjoyed it as well. But my God, combat, guys, especially when you've got too many things. But it's really worth checking out in general. Also, check that out when you do that sort of thing. Anyway, enough of me blabbing on about me. That's not what you've tuned in for. There's normal people who've gone, Fiona, just get to the actual play. Get to the RPG. Right, so tonight's RPG that I'm going to look at is an RPG called Ironsworn, a tabletop RPG of perilous quests. Let me remove my big mug of tea, and we'll switch to the game screen. Ooh, there we are. Now, a little context to this. So, this has always been recommended to me as a solo RPG. There are ways to do it, also in groups or one-on-one on solo play. But people go, Fiona, you have to check out Ironsworn. It's a great solo game. It's a great solo game. And let me tell you, I looked at it. I saw that it was 270 pages, and I went, no, thank you. No solo RPG is worth 270 pages. Now, that was old Fiona. This is new Fiona, and I know it's on the list. Everyone talks about how great this game is, and I know I have to sit down and read it. That's why I thought, fuck it. It's Sunday. I have to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to go to bed, because if I go to bed, then Monday will come quicker. So why not stave off the Sunday scaries by reading some Ironsworn, which is something I've been meaning to do. So there you go. The Roleplay Factory. Hello, everyone's in chat. Good jobby, Bobby. Combat is so hard for APs. The combat was a lot of fun. Terrifying, but fun. Well, that's very kind of you to say, Roleplay Factory. Anyway, let us go. So, Ironsworn. I'm going to read off. So, first things first. This RPG is completely free. And I know what you're thinking. What the actual heck? A free RPG that's at 270 pages? I know. So that's why there's no quick start or anything like that. You'll see why. But the initial first version, Ironsworn, is free. And so if you go to... I've put it in the chat, but the itch or even the website, maybe I'll start at the website so you can see all the different ones. So you have the initial original one, Ironsworn, which is provides everything you need to undertake perilous quests. The free digital version includes a 270-page rulebook, character sheet, printable asset cards, and reference handouts. So yes, there are printable things, should you wish. I was like, oh. Now, however, the additional. So if you're like, I'd like the base version, but what if we want to expand and we want to have an advanced version? Well, we've got Ironsworn Delve. So it goes to the deepest, darkest reaches of the Ironlands, which is the setting for this particular game. And then you're like, Fiona, I don't want to go underground. You know where I want to go? The sky. Well, there's also Ironsworn Starforged, which is essentially a sci-fi evolution of the Ironsworn RPG, taking them to a new frontier. Very cool, very exciting. So yeah, they've catered for everything. I think, you like your fantasy? You don't like fantasy? You like your sci-fi. All right, we'll get it going. But yeah, so you can get this on ironswornrpg.com. That's their sort of base RPG. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit because, good God, the top. It's one of those websites that is responsive. I can't stand them because they're terrible to look at. Like, I can't imagine this on a phone, or maybe it would do a different version on the phone. But if I zoom in a little bit, so we can go, can't go up to the top bits, but I was going to go to downloads. So yeah, so easily you can get all this stuff here. So you get some all the stuff, the assets you can get for Starforged here, the Ironsworn rulebook. And you can tell when it's been updated as well. That's always useful. And you can also get the book landscape or spreads, depending on how you pronounce it. There's a map as well. There's so much stuff to this, guys. So instantly, you can tell what I'm like. I'm overwhelmed. There's too much stuff. Again, we're going to get past that. You can also buy it as you can buy these other versions, the digital versions of Starforge and the Delve as well. And then there's a reference guide for these books as well, which I think we might be looking at quite a bit as well. Yeah, so the Ironsworn Lodestar guide, that's for the quick reference guide for the sci-fi version. But they're all on DriveThruRPG or itch.io. But more importantly, if I go to resources very quickly, so yeah, all these places you can get stuff and all these templates, so you can put it on your Discord. Well, you can join the Discord, but there's also an app. There's a Foundry thing, Roll20 sheets. I mean, they've covered you, right? You want to play this game? Let me make sure it's accessible to everything. And you know what? I really much appreciate that in terms of that. The other thing, which is quite cool, up in front and center, it is Creative Commons non-commercial share alike 4.0 in international license, which means that all of it, certainly the Ironsworn original basing, means you can create your own stuff on it, you can create your own setting, etc. All you have to do is just reference where it's from, and you can't make any money off it, which makes sense. But if you want to do it, there's a different system. So obviously we have the system reference document for Ironsworn as well. And so there's a whole list. And what I love about it is that it's up straight in front, that you can actually see this. It's on their website. They're not hiding it away. I think it's a very popular RPG. People want to play this one. I don't know why, but again, I'm just trying to hold. That's old Fiona speaking. Just because I'm like, oh, it's so big as a game. I'm sure it's gonna be great. So let's go back to the itch.io. Oh, sorry, I really love it. Also, I printed all of it off at work. Oh, so you've played it, Hamilton, or you've read it, Hamilton. Excellent. Well, I'll look forward to reading it then. So let's go through the bits and pieces. So this is so the person who wrote this, who created all of this, is Sean Tomkin. And again, you can get the free version. If I scroll down here, get the free version of the rule book and all the play kits, etc., which I have downloaded for this. You get it on his itch as well. So let's have a little read, shall we? Enhance as always, and make sure you guys can see it. So yeah, let's do a bit more enhancing, shall we? I said enhance, god damn it. Okay. So, in Ironsworn, tabletop role-playing game, you are a hero sworn to undertake perilous quests in a dark fantasy setting of the Ironlands. That's simple. Others live out their lives hardly venturing beyond the walls of their village or steading. But you are different. You will explore the untracked wilds, fight desperate battles, forge bonds with isolated communities, and reveal the secrets of this harsh lands. Are you ready to swear iron vows and see them fulfilled, no matter what the costs? Yeah, I guess so, Sean. Okay, yes. There are 3 ways to play. Guided, so where one of the more players take on the roles of the characters whilst the game master moderates the session. I like that it's called guided. I think that's quite a nice way of putting, again, would be nice if you called the game master something that's not game master, but that's just a personal taste thing. There is co-op, so where you and one or more of your friends play together to overcome challenges, so no GM required, so that's a GM-less one. Very cool. And then the one I've heard most about, solo. You portray a lone character driven to fulfill vows in a dangerous world. Good luck. Instantly what I get from this, and I appreciate these are much later games that have come out, but you have Colossal, which is, again, a solo game where you're in the Roomlands, so there's basically like a big giant's house, essentially, and there are, rooks, these sort of, creatures that move around, like old ancient buildings. Essentially, it feels very much like Shadow of the Colossus, that kind of game feel, but a little bit brighter, perhaps. So there's that game, and then the other game, I was thinking of Strange Vows. Oh, well, the one that's coming out by... Oh, no, I've forgotten their name. It's Zephyr is the game, where, yes, you play, windfolk people, and you're on this big moving landmass, and you have to go and it's about the journey to fix things. Like, oh, the bridge is broken between these 2 towns, we need to go fix it, and about the journey along the way. Zephyr, I think it's an anarchist RPG or something like that, and that is by Fede Sons. Wow, I can't believe I pulled that out of the back of my head. I was like, I've interviewed them for where? So those are the games I sort of instantly think about. Oh, solo RPGs. Currently, those are at the forefront, but obviously this is a little bit older. So what's included? Well, let me tell you, quest-driven mechanics and fast, flexible character creation. Okay. Story hooks and creative prompts to eliminate game prep and push your adventures forward with or without a GM. A setting guide for the Ironlands, a rugged and treacherous peninsula at the edge of the known world. Inspiring tools to customize your setting and fine-tune your game experience. Extensive advice, examples, and options for exploring your story and characters and their fateful vows. The digital package is free and complete. It includes the rulebook, a character sheet, 25 printable card assets, and extensive reference materials. Very good. Oh, it's also bookmarked. Excuse me. Oh, it's also bookmarked, searchable, and optimized for fast tablet display. That is one thing I've noticed. As someone who reads a lot on tablets now and has rulebooks coming out of their ears, I really notice when they sometimes have low versions and high-res versions of games. I think the game that I really noticed it on was Rivers of London, which is only a Call of Cthulhu hack, published by, I think, I want to say Modifius. I don't know if it's Cubicle 7 now, but I think it's Modifius. I And it took so long to load when I moved the pages because it's got artwork and stuff like that. But it makes it searchable as well. So it's, I don't know, each to their own. But yeah. Hey, Sam Size. Dropping a alert, but hi. Hi indeed. So good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. I'm just explaining what we're doing here, in case you've not joined us here before. We're doing Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs, where I'm just going to read through an RPG, and today's one is Ironsworn by Sean Tompkins. Or Tompkins, sorry, not Tompkins. I think S is anywhere. But also, yeah, like I said before, there's Ironsworn Delve as well, which is a massive expansion. Exhibitions into perilous places, more foes and encounters, an array of new oracles. So that's a big thing, a big element of this is an oracle. Expanded setting information, mysterious objects of power, and threats and campaign threats, and campaign threats, and much more. Now, I should have looked this up before stream. I'm very bad at this. There is an actor somewhere who did like his own Ironsworn like game, like really well filmed. It's just him. And he had minis and all sorts. I'll see if I can find it before the end of the stream, if we're wrapping up and stuff. I'll see if I can find it, because I watched a little bit of that and he put in so much effort to it. I still didn't get what the rules were, but he was really good because he made his character and stuff, and then he just filmed it like an actual play, and obviously it was very well edited and put together, and he would put the minis and stuff like that. It felt almost very much like Dimension 20, and he did a whole like I think 2 series of it, and it was really cool. So again, it's that something going, that's a different way of doing like a solo actual play, and solo RPG that's not necessarily audio or just someone just sitting there and streaming it, etc. So I just thought that was a little bit different. Maybe the GM's name's Oath Taker or Oath Bearer. Quite possibly. Again, I can't remember off the top of my head. I just know it's a guy. He's very excited. He's a voice actor of some sort. But I'll take your word from that roleplay factory. Basically, if you type in Ironsworn RPG how to play, I think that's the guy that comes up, which I know it's absolutely not helpful at all. Anyway, I have talked long enough. I've chitty-chatted with my chitty-chats, and we are going to move to the book, and I'm gonna, sorry, there we go. So, let me show you what we've got on the screen. So I've turned to the Adobe Reader. So, it's off the screen, but yeah, 270 pages. I don't think we'll look at all of them, so don't panic. But looking at the other assets that come free, we've got the play kit, which is 11 pages, and in here we have the character sheet, rule reference, move reference, progress track worksheet, oracle worksheet, Ironlands map. All of this is printable as well, and I think it's going to be probably black and white as well. Then we have the master set assets, which I believe they're all cards. You can see there, and obviously challenge ratings and stuff like that at the bottom. 75 of those, and then there's the Truths workbook, which I assume is a way to expand on the setting of the Ironlands as you sort of read through. Because I had a quick look through. You can see there's like I guess ways you can tick. So they've got, I guess, three options. Let's have a look in. Let's have a nosy in. So, enhance. Let's enhance a bit more, Fiona. Don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. Don't be stingy is what I meant to say. But yes, you've got examples of like 3 sort of different kinds of starting things, I guess, and then you've got a question where you can start where you're coming from. So 3 different ways, and then your option for your own things, and it depends. You've got different categories like the old world, iron, legacies, communities, leaders, defense, mysticism, religion, firstborn, beasts, etc. Ooh, it's frozen. No. There we go. Horrors, etc. So it's a way to shape the world that you're in, which I really like that. I think that's really cool, actually, so that you can actually really tailor the experience to you. I assume that you use that workbook as a solo thing. Probably going to all tell us in the rulebook. I meant as an alternate name for the Game Master. Oh, Oath Bearer, Oath Taker. I like Oath Bearer, but I'll just... Yeah, Oath Taker is probably... Sorry. You can tell I'm off in my own little world, like just tootling along. So yeah. So I'm sure these things will come up as we look at them, but let's go straight into it. So of course, we have the very classic image of this. In really incredible drawing. I think what struck me about it when I first saw it, struck me about it when I first saw it is 2018, the fact there was a woman or a female presenting person on an RPG that was really well talked about. And the same with both Starforge and the Delve expansion. All the adventurers or the Ironsworn warriors on it, they are female presenting, which is it's massive. And I know that sounds like a silly thing, but you don't see that. You really don't see that. It's a lot of browns. It's a lot of reds. Certainly now there's a lot of AI stuff on the Drive-Thru RPG. I saw there was a big thread about it, which is a bit of a shame, but it stands out. I can imagine, like, again, looking at it again, well, stands out in the sense of like I was like, oh, very cool, very interesting, and there's that sort of fire, bit of magic underneath there as well. Anyway, let's continue. So Ironsworn, a tabletop RPG of perilous quests. So copyright 2018 under a Creative Commons attribute non-commercial share alike 4.0 international license. You can tell I've said that a few times for a couple of things. And this is something I think is really cool. Again, writing and design all by Sean Tomkin is clearly, his passion project, which is amazing. Look at what's right underneath it. Acknowledgements. Get where you get your inspiration from your games. Apocalypse World, City of Judas, Dungeon World. Well, it's a game. Fine. Fate, Mythic. Mythic's come up recently. I watched Shriek Week on Dimension 20. And they use the Mythic system, which I hear is really, really cool. So this is where, if you're listening Critical Role, this is where you put your acknowledgements. You don't just put them at the back of the quick start, you put them at the front so people can see where you get your ideas from. And somebody else I was talking to recently, who was it? Somebody was saying about writing out their own game ideas. And they were... can't remember now, but it was really recent. It was... Oh, I know who it was. It was my good friend JC Darcy. JC Darcy had ideas for a game, but they were like, everything I think about, it's this game, it's this game. And I'm like, well, why don't you just write it all out and see where you get with it? There's no point in keeping it in your head and be like, it's like exactly like this game. Write it out. You never know what will make it different. That's why I think like stuff like Jason Cordova does, Brindlewood Bay stuff, is incredible because it's all vaguely the same system. Still uses Powered by the Apocalypse, but also with their own individual mechanics, and also very different. You've got Granny solving crime, but you've also got public access, which is like infected videotapes. So very cool. And image credits as well, always good. And playtester, contributors, and special thanks, all good stuff. Now the contents page. Look, I can already see. I can zip to these things because it's bookmarked. Fantastic, thank you. So the chapter 1 is the basics. That covers hopefully most of the stuff we'll be going through. That's only the first 30 pages, which is promising. She says, crossing her fingers. Then character creation, what do we envisions for them? That takes us for another 20 pages or so. Then we go on to the moves themselves. Chapter 3. You can see stuff like suffer moves. And then your world, welcome to the Ironlands. So I suspect we're probably not going to look too much at the islands themselves. I try not to look at the settings too much because how likely am I going to run these games? I know. But easily you can do it yourself. And then here we've got foes and encounters, oracles. So I might look at oracles a little bit because that I think is a big part of it. I can see this. I know these are tables. I think these different tables, which is quite interesting. Gameplay in depth. Maybe we'll look at that a little bit as well. Gameplay options, and then the index as well. So I definitely want to cover the first 2 chapters at least, because I feel like those are the most important things that will make me go, this is interesting. Do I want to play it for where, for example? So let us whiz past. So in total then, that is only 7 chapters, really, for almost like just shy of 270 pages, plus an index. So that's not too bad. Alright, the basics. Gotta have your sword and your helmet. Dangerous out there, take these. Alright. Let's dive into Enhance. Playing Ironsworn. So in the Ironsworn tabletop role-playing game, you are a hero sworn to undertake perilous quests in the dark fantasy setting of the Ironlands. You will explore untracked wilds, fight desperate battles, forge bonds with isolated communities, and reveal the secrets of this harsh land. Most importantly, you will swear iron vows and see them fulfilled no matter the cost. To play Ironsworn, you will create your character, make some decisions about the world you inhabit, and set the story in motion. When you encounter something dangerous or uncertain, your choices and the dice will determine the outcome. 3 modes of play, which we've talked about. We talked about guided, we talked about cooperative or co-op, and solo. Here's the thing. What's that tea? What's in the mug? Your mug. It's alright. Yeah, it's my big tea. It's my terrible mug that holds all my tea in. It's Earl Grey, but unfortunately it uses cow's milk or normal milk, as people would say. I don't think it's normal. It's just that we've got a lot of milk and I need to use it before I leave for Christmas. But here's the thing, so Ironsworn is primarily intended for solo or small group play, 1 to 4 players, plus a GM in the guide mode is ideal. The characters you portray by other players is referred to in these rules as your allies. Okay, good to know. So it is intended for solo play. That's interesting. So what you would need, if you're playing solo, grab some materials and get started. A session can be as long as you like, from a few minutes to a few hours. Sorry. If you're playing with 1 or more friends, either guided or co-op, you probably want to dedicate enough time to making some progress in your quests, so plan on a couple of hours or more. Make sure you have... Oh, I probably should get some dice if I want to try out some of these oracle stuff. So we need 2 10-sided dice for each player. These are your challenge dice. 1 6-sided dice for each player. This is your action dice. Optionally, another pair of 10-sided dice. These are to use as your oracle dice. I suspect you might just use them the same, unless they come up like you're doing challenges at the same time as oracles, whatever. A printed character sheet for each player and printed asset cards available at ironswornrpg.com. Would be nice if it was a digital version, but you know what it is. You know, it is what it is, you know. It is 2018 at this point. Some counters for marking status tracks on your character sheet. You can use paper clips, beads, dice, coins, tokens from other games, or whatever is convenient. Not helpful, not required, but helpful. Printed reference sheets for moves, a blank Ironlands map, and other worksheets are available from ironswornrpg.com. Alright, I'm gonna go grab some dice then. Are they close by? Of course they're not close by. You think, you know, as an RPG, I'm within... It's like in London, yet you're never 6 feet away from a rat. I'm never 6 feet away from dice, but I just never have them to hand. Get my travel bag of dice out. Right, we've just got a set, so we're all good. We're all good to go. So, Ironsworn uses various mechanics, but it's very ballsy, I have to say that, such as rolling dice and managing the stats and resources on your character sheet. As a player, you will often make decisions based on the desired mechanical outcome. For example, you might choose a particular action to get a bonus on your die roll. The basic mechanics of Ironsworn are introduced in this chapter. Ironsworn is also heavily reliant on the fiction, which is the imagined characters, situations, and places within your game. You will play from the perspective of your character. You will interpret actions and events in a way that is consistent with the dramatic, fictional reality that you have forged for your story and your world. To learn more about how the mechanics and fiction interact, please see page 203. God, my brain. Absolutely going. The setting. The default setting of your adventures is Ironlands. It is a rugged peninsula of isolated communities and untracked wilds on the frontier of the known world. You can learn more about this setting starting on page 111. For now, here's a summary of some default assumptions. Okie dokie. So, 2 generations ago, your people were driven to the Ironlands from their former homes in the Old World. The weather here is harsh. Winters are brutal. The rugged terrain makes travel and trade difficult and dangerous. There are no thriving cities. Instead, Ironlanders live in isolated villages or steadings. Their homes are modest buildings of wood, stone, and thatch. Many areas of the Ironlands are unexplored and uninhabited except by the firstborn, beings such as elves, giants, and wolf-like Varu. I will say now, I was like, uh-oh, another pronunciation. Coins have little value here. Most commerce is made through barter and favours. Some communities remain isolated and independent, whilst others trade in basic goods such as iron, grain, wood, livestock, wood, and coal. Iron? Roll credits. There is a diverse mix of peoples and cultures within the Ironlands, and even within a single community. You can envision your character and those you interact with however you like, unbounded by the considerations of geography, lineage, sexual orientation, and gender. Excellent, good job. Makes sense, really, if you're thinking about Vikings. Communities sometimes band together under a powerful leader, but there are no kingdoms. Territorial lines are sketchily drawn, if at all. Large-scale warfare is unheard of, but raiding parties and skirmishes between communities are a constant menace. Some communities subsist entirely on raiding. Spear, axe, shield, and bow are the dominant weapons. Swords are rare and highly prized. Some warriors choose to wade into battle clad in iron, whilst others trust in their prowess or in the strength of their shields. Magic is subtle and mysterious. Mystics seek to ward away the darkness through the practice of magic, but often succumb to it. Rituals are performed as blessings and to gain insight. Supernatural creatures and beasts are rare, frightening, and dangerous. Nice. Oh, it's quite interesting. Well, again, maybe it's for me. I'm like, okay, Ironlands sounds really interesting, very cool. You're encouraged to make the Ironsworn your own and bend the setting to your liking. Your version of the Ironlands will be unique because you define aspects such as the history of your people, magic, mythic beasts, and more. The choices you make will help inspire the personal vows driving your character. You can also completely ignore the Ironlands and playing in your own world, or explore a setting inspired by media, history, or another role-playing game. The Ironsworn rules are flexible enough to accommodate many forms of gritty fantasy or historical fiction. With a bit of work, you can even adapt these rules to different genres. See page 237 on Hacking Ironsworn. How cool! Already they're like going, hey, you don't like this? We've got other Ironlands, don't you worry. I feel like Ironlands for me, obviously I know it's called the Ironlands because I've literally just read it, and also I heard about it before. I wonder, like Ironlands, I instantly would be like, it feels very Dustfall, right? It feels very Blades in the Dark, maybe a steampunk type thing, like a iron punk, things in the sky. Or boats on a sea. That'd be quite cool if it's rather than having little communities on peninsulas. Maybe it's one big raft of boats with different communities per boat, and they're just sailing on the sea. Iron vows. In the Ironlands, a vow is sacred. When you declare your solemn promise to serve or aid someone, or to complete a personal quest, your honour is bound to that vow. Abandoning it or recanting an oath is the worst sort of failure. When you swear a vow, you touch a piece of iron. It can be an iron coin, a weapon, or your armour. It's an old tradition. Some say the iron, a piece of the primal world, serves as a conduit to the old gods, so they may better hear your promise. Ooh. Vows are the core of playing Ironsworn. It is your vows that drive you. These goals create the context for your adventures and challenges. As you complete your vows, you gain experience and new abilities. When you create your character, you start with a background vow. When you set up your campaign, you envision or encounter an inciting incident, which triggers a new vow. There are several prompts for vows associated with the details of the world in Chapter 4, and with foes and encounters in Chapter 5. You can select something which fits your vision for the world and your character's goals, or just come up with something yourself. If you're playing in co-op mode, you and your fellow players may have shared vows and personal vows. To learn more about your first vows, yada yada yada. Okay, that's quite cool. I really like that idea of like touching something. Maybe I would ask that if I was running a game of it, and if I was doing a survey, maybe I would do that. It's almost like an opening, like the opening ceremony or an opening ritual and a closing ritual. I think I love that sort of tactile sense of that. Like Die the RPG, I know I always gone about that, but this idea that you open out and you give the dice out to the respective players, and then when you finish the session, you take it back in and say thank you for playing, etc. It's just a way to be like, this is part of the game, this is real, and having that bleed a little bit. I appreciate that it's controversial, that whole bleed stuff from Vampire the Masquerade. I want to read that book in full, actually. I can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, people didn't like it. People didn't like that talk about the emotional bleed stuff because it didn't talk about the safety around it as well. This idea that, when we play characters that we're very, very close to, that are basically ourselves, being able to play a character like that, but then obviously, you'll feel feelings that your character's feeling, and how do we safely make sure that you're okay after the session? Because what happened in the session happened to your character, not you, even though the choices you make, they're very personal, etc., etc. And unfortunately, we only got a snippet of this particular new book for Vampire the Masquerade that came out, which talked about how important, how good emotional bleed can be, and you should lean into it. but we didn't see a section on like the safety behind it about, you know, how do you decompress? How do you make sure that you look after yourself when something horrible happens, like your character dies, or an NPC that you're emotionally attached to in a game also dies, or something bad happens to them. You know, an easier example would be like you have an argument with someone, and you might feel really like, oh, afterwards. Even though it's not at anything in particular, it's just, you know, because we love role-playing games and stuff, so the emotional bleed of stuff is important. Sorry, I'm getting completely off track, but I just love this way of connecting your character and being in that moment, and like almost the performative aspect of it. Not for everyone, I know, but I really like that. Your character. You use your character sheet to track your stats, the overall condition, and the progress in your quests. You also have assets, which are abilities you choose when you create your character and when you gain experience. These components help you to determine the outcome when things get dangerous or uncertain. However, your character is more than these mechanical bits. You are the protagonist in a rich story. You have hopes and fears, virtues and failings. You have a history. You are, or were, part of a community. This is the fiction of your character. Consider a few of these details as you create your character, but don't sweat it. You'll evolve it through play. At the start of your game, put your character on the stage and see what happens. Fill in the blanks for the character and your world as you go. That's such an interesting point. Again, we did a panel about how do we create interesting characters, and whilst we covered lots of different ways of doing it, ultimately, using random tables or just going with the flow, whatever choice you make, it's right. And sure, there may be other choices you could have made which might have led to more interesting things, or maybe did suit the narrative more, but you should always be like, I made the choice because that was the right thing to do in that moment. And again, I always refer to it now because it makes so sense, but my friend Rob said to me, the most interesting thing that happens to your character shouldn't be in the backstory. It should be happening in play. I think that's so true. You always have to keep motion. You can't constantly be like, well, I'm an orphan. My parents died. No one needs a Batman, you know. Oh, we've got a diagram of the sheet. Probably could get the sheet up, huh? Well, let's have a look. See, there it is. Zoom out a little bit. Oh, it's too much, Fiona. Why have you done this? Okay. Ooh, a bit of a busy sheet, but I appreciate it's probably going to have everything on it. So we've got at the top, we've got the character name, experience points. I'm guessing 2 rows of 10, 2, 6, 8, 10. I was wrong. 12, 14, 15. Oh, 30 points. Okay, that makes more sense. And then we have 5 traits at the top. So edge, heart, iron, shadow. Bit of a weird gap there. Wits. We've got bonds. We've got vows, which take up quite a bit of the page. You can have up to 5 vows on the go. That sounds good. Debilities. I think that's what it's called. So I guess the conditions, really. Oh, well, they've got conditions there. Banes and burdens. On the right here, we've got a health bar, we've got a spirit bar and supply bar, and then we've got, I don't know what this one, oh, it says there at the bottom. Momentum. Oh, I've heard about this momentum stuff, yeah. The max and reason one. So I will say, it feels a bit busy, but I know they're going to explain it if I go back to the rule book, so we can refer to both as it is. So, there you go. Your vows, the main part of the book. They are sacred oaths to complete perilous quest. Each vow has a rank. It's managed by through a progress track. Let's go back and have a look. See. Okay. So I'm guessing. So you put what it is there. I guess you track it through this progress bar. I guess a rank would be, yeah. What kind of is it? A troublesome one? Is it a dangerous one? Is it formidable? Is it extreme? Is it epic? Where's mundane? Where's going down to the shops? Doing your shopping for your granny, you know? You have 5 stats at the top here, which represent the core aspects of your character. These are often added as a bonus when you take an action. Okay. As you fulfill vows, you earn experience, and you expend the experience to gain new asset. Okie dokie, so that's at the top there. As you take action, you build or lose momentum, which is going to be this chart on the left here. Positive momentum can help improve a result in an action, but negative can undermine an otherwise successful action. Okay. You suffer debilities as you face harrowing challenges. Some debilities are temporary and easily mended, and others are permanent. Dear oh dear. And we have status tracks for health, spirit, and supply, and these represent your current condition and readiness. Okie dokie. I guess it's quite good that it's only one page, right? You're not having to go on the back here, no. But you got a little summary there, so that's pretty good. I'll just move on to next. I feel like we're going to need that. Right, good to have. Or I've not moved books. Alright, moves. Alright. Quick, enhance, because my eyes are terrible. Ooh, keep enhancing. There we go. Okay, so moves are self-contained systems to resolve a specific action, scene, or question. There is a move for most common situations you encounter in Ironsworn. They have specific They have specific triggers, phrased as when you blank. When your character does that thing, or you encounter that situation, refer to the move and see what happens. So yeah, very typical Power by the Apocalypse in that sort of sense. Like, here's your trigger at the top, then you follow what kind of... Ooh, sorry. Just getting the goblin out of the way, just smacking it. And then you follow like the text underneath it, so that makes sense that they call it that. Moves are organised by activities. We have adventure moves, we have relationship moves, we have combat moves, we have suffer moves, we have quest moves, we have fate moves. That's quite a lot of moves. Adventure moves cover a variety of dangers, conducting investigations, travelling, making camp and healing. Relationship moves involve persuading others to do something, building bonds with other people and communities, resting and recuperating within a community, aiding your allies, and initiating duels. Combat moves are used when fighting, but not exclusively. Other moves may come into play as well. Suffer moves occur when you endure hardship, such as suffering physical harm or facing a dispiriting challenge. Sunday scaries, am I right? Quest moves. These encompass iron vows, making progress in a sworn quest and improving your character. And finally, fate moves help you decide what is happening in solo and co-op play, or support the GM's decision whilst brainstorming guided play. Okay, so realistically, that fate one might not appear if you're doing, might not appear in the guided play ones if it's just helping with the GM. Okay, but the seven cat is that 7 categories? Have I just miscounted? 1, 2, 3, 6 categories. Okay, feels like a lot of categories, but maybe it'll cover everything. Let's see. Most moves are based on risky actions you are taking. If you're attacking with your sword, making a dangerous climb, or healing an ally, these moves use dice to determine the outcome, and it's called an action roll. Okie dokie. The action roll these moves you make an action roll. Some moves measure your headway against an extended challenge, so it's a journey or a fight, using a progress track. When you're ready to resolve the challenge, you make a progress roll. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Other moves utilize a different kind of roll, called an oracle roll. These moves help determine the outcome of uncertain events out of your character's control. If you're playing solo or co-op, you can use Ask the Oracle move, answer questions about the world, resolve how the other characters respond, and determine what happens next. Okay, so there's 3 different types of rolls: an action, progress, and oracle. Some moves don't require a roll. They might support or reference a separate move, and simply help you resolve a mechanical or narrative situation. Don't roll dice unless a move tells you to. Alright, sure. Oh, here we go. Here's an example of one such move. I'll zoom out a little bit so we can see it. So, this is the move's name. So we've got an example here of gather information. This is the move's trigger. When you do this or encounter this situation, make moves. So, when you search for an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track, roll plus wits. Moves which require an action roll will tell you which stat to add to your roll and may give you the option to include other bonuses. If you act within a community or ask questions of a person whom you share a bond, add 1. Okay. Moves for an action roll include 3 levels of possible results. So strong hit, a weak hit, or a miss. So again, those levels of success that we've seen in other games. On a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or an action you must take to make the progress is clear. Envision what you have learnt. Ask the oracle if you're unsure, and then take +2 momentum. Okay, so that's if you succeed. On a weak hit, though, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what you might discover. Ask the oracle if you're unsure, and take +1 momentum. Then on a miss, your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Pay the price. When a move is referenced within your another move, you'll see it as italicized text. So yeah, pay the price and ask the oracle are 2 different moves on top of that. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is the target number for these particular, strong hit, weak hit, etc.? Well, I know this comes from the dice, the actual game mechanic, which we'll get onto in a second. But that's the thing; it's not about a set level. Like for example, in Cult Divinity Lost, a full success is 15+, a mixed result is 10 to 14, and then a 9 or less is a miss. That's not the same here at all. And it's interesting to see different games that have been inspired by Powered by the Apocalypse using like the same system but changing it a little bit. So obviously in Cult they use D10s. This also uses D10s, by the way. But Powered by the Apocalypse games normally use 2d6 plus your modifier in some way, a relevant modifier in some way. That's just very interesting. All right, here we go. I knew I was going to speak too soon. So the action roll. So when you make a move representing a risky or uncertain action, you roll 3 dice. 3 dice at once. So that you roll your challenge die, which is a 2d10 here, and we've got the action die, which is a d6. And helpfully, they've shown a picture of them, but I've got them here just in case. Add your relevant stat to your action die. Okay, the move will tell you which stat to add, or may give you a choice. Some moves will tell you to use one of your tracks, such as health or supply, in place of a stat. Based on the move or your character's assets, you may also have the opportunity to apply one or more bonuses called adds. You can see why now I was like, losing the will to live when I was reading through many years ago. The total of your action die, your stat, and any adds is your action score. It's never greater than 10. Anything over that is ignored. Okay, so in this example, they've rolled a 3. The stat they've added is a 2, and you've got an add, which is 1, so the total action score is 6. Okay. To determine the outcome of your move, compare the action score to each of the challenge die. You want it to be greater than the individual value of those die. So, in this example, the total action score is 6. So I can imagine you would roll your action die first, actually. That would make a lot more sense. And then you compare it to you rolling the challenge die, which you don't add anything to. And you can see that's 6. They've rolled in this example, 4 and an 8. So the 4, so 6 is greater than 4, but 8 is greater than 6. Obviously, Fiona. Good to know. And there you have 3 possible results: either strong hits that your action score is greater than both the challenge dice. You succeed what you're trying to do, or it's a weak hit. Your action score is greater only than one of the challenge dice. You probably succeed, but with a lesser effect or a cost. And then a miss is that your action score isn't greater than either of your challenge dice. You failed, or need something serious, or you need to make some serious concessions. How cool is that? Again, maybe it's a little bit much to get your head around at first, but I've rolled a 4 and say I had in total 3, so I get a 7, right? I'm gonna roll these 2 dice now and see. Ooh, I got a 5 and a 6, so that is a strong hit. If I use that sort of the action roll of like 7, there you go. It's just about going through those motions a little bit, but I really like that. That's really cool. The move will tell you how to interpret the outcome of your action or offer a choice. The result may include mechanical changes to your character's status and narrative changes to your current situation. When you score a miss on a move, you usually see the prompt to pay the price. This is a special move that lets you pick a likely negative outcome or roll to see what happens. If you play with a GM, they may consult with this move or just tell you the price. The main thing to remember on a miss: something always happens. The situation gets more complex, dramatic, or dangerous. Absolutely, so story always moves forward in a way. Tide always goes to the challenge dice. Ooh. Your action score needs to exceed, not equal the challenge dice to count as a hit. Oh, interesting. I like that. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. Alright, but then we have something called matches. When you roll for a move, you should always be on the lookout for a match on the challenge die. In cooperative and solo plays, this is your trigger to add a twist, create a new complication, or otherwise mix things up. Or something interesting, unexpected, or unusual happens. If you're unsure, you ask the Oracle, which is a move that you use to ask questions or check for inspiration. If you're playing with a GM, a match on a challenge dice can be their prompt to introduce a surprising turn of events. I really like that. I'm always a big fan of like matching things, indicating like, I don't know, if you get over a certain number but it matches, then it's a twist or something bad happens, or like it's a good thing or a bad thing. I just really like it. The outcome of a match should be evaluated, I was literally going to say this here, based on the result of your move. So a strong hit is that the match should represent a twist in the narrative, something interesting or a new opportunity. But on a miss, the match should represent a heightened negative outcome, complication or new danger. Things get worse for you in an unexpected way. Obviously, the matches won't happen on a weak one because only one of the challenge dice is underneath the action score, and they won't be the same. Does that make sense? You can also let the intensity of your success or failure frame how you interpret the match. Rolling matching 10s on your challenge die should prompt you to introduce a harrowing turn of events or a dire failure. It's as bad as things get. Absolutely, that's really cool. If you're playing as a GM, you can focus on guiding the game and responding to your players' questions and actions. Since NPCs don't make move, you won't need to make action rolls. Oh, amazing. However, you might want to have a pair of D10s available for Oracle rolls. Also makes sense. Momentum. Momentum is a special mechanic which is central to playing Ironsworn. Your momentum value ranges from a -6 to a +10 and represents how you're faring in your quests. Moves. Excuse me. Ooh. Moves may tell you to increase or decrease momentum. The momentum track is on the left side of your character sheet. You can use a paperclip or a token to mark the current value. When you have positive momentum, things are going your way. You have the advantage. You're in control. Your path is clear. You are properly positioned for success. However, when you have negative momentum, the tide has turned against you. You face tough odds. You're outmatched. Your next steps are uncertain. Momentum persists through scenes and in between gaming sessions. When you finish a session, write down your current momentum value. Then pick up where you left off when you return to the game. Yeah, straightforward. It doesn't reset at any point. You gain momentum as an outcome or an option when making moves. This represents securing advantages, acquiring new insights, and making progress in your quests. If a move tells you to add momentum, a phrase like take plus X momentum, increase your momentum track by the value indicated. The choices you make in a move or the assets you use to support a move may modify the amount rewarded. In general, taking a +1 momentum represents a minor advantage, but taking +2 momentum or more represents a major advantage. You can lose momentum as a choice when making moves or as an outcome of a move, particularly on a weak hit or a miss. If a move tells you to suffer a specific loss of momentum, phrased as suffer -X momentum, you reduce your momentum track by the value indicated. The options you choose in the move or the assets you leverage may alter this penalty. Very straightforward there. If you lose momentum as a result of a narrative outcome without a defined value, such as when you make a pay the price move, you should suffer a reduction appropriate to the narrative circumstances. So for a minor disadvantage or complication, -1. For a major one, -2. Some moves or assets may give you the option to suffer a loss of momentum in exchange for temporary advantages. If you take this option, adjust your momentum track by the amount indicated. Yeah. Easy. I understand for now. Burning momentum. So burning momentum is a powerful option to build on your success and deliver a decisive result or avoid dire failure. When you have positive momentum after you roll your move, you may cancel any challenge die that is less than your current momentum value. Ooh, this gives you an automatic hit. Wow. If both challenge dice are less than your momentum value, you may cancel them both for a strong hit. You burn momentum when only one of your challenge die is less than your momentum value. The result of that other die stands, giving you a weak hit. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. So here's an example below. So on the momentum track, we've got a +6. The action score is 4. So currently, those two challenge dice there, a 5 and an 8, we're currently on a miss, right? But because our momentum is +6, we can burn the momentum, shifting that, getting rid of the 5, and so we have a weak miss. That's quite cool. Burning momentum is never required. Even if you score a miss on a move and have enough momentum to cancel the challenge die, you can choose to suffer the failure and save your momentum for a crucial moment. Ooh, after burning your momentum, this is it, you must reset your momentum. See the next page of how that works. I was going to say, how does that work? I'm guessing you come in, maybe if we're going to burn momentum, we'd have to, like, I don't know, spend a point for point, so it comes down to a -1. Oh, no, ignore me. After you burn momentum, you must adjust your momentum track to the momentum reset value. God, it's going to make no meaning for me, this word, anymore. The default reset is +2. This value may be lowered if your character suffers a debility. Debilities are conditions such as wounded, shaken, or unprepared. Kind of wish there was a different word for it. I feel like debilities, I feel there's going to be some sort of negative connotations with it. Condition is probably a better word for it, but disadvantage, I don't know. They are marked on your character sheet as a result of a move or narrative event. If you have one debility marked, your momentum reset is +1. If you have more than that, your momentum reset is 0. There is a box below where you can record your current momentum. Yes, it's right at the bottom, isn't it? If I go back to... yeah, it's here. So yeah, you can put in here exactly what it is. That's pretty cool. Cool. Oh, sorry. Suffering negative momentum. When your momentum is less than 0, it matches the value. Oh no! Sorry, I just read ahead slightly. When your momentum is less than 0 and it matches the value of your action die, you must cancel your action die. You can still check the success of your move comparing your stats plus your adds to the challenge die, but you won't have your action die to help you. That's so bad. So yeah, in the example here, on the momentum track, we've got a -4, because the 4 matches the action die result, which is also 4. You have to cancel that. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be on the reference guide. I like that though. Really good. Your momentum cannot drop lower than +6. Sorry, a -6, which totally makes sense because obviously you can only go up to 6 on the action die. This is your minimum momentum. If a move tells you to lower your momentum and you're already at the minimum, you will instead make a setback move. As a result of this move, you may reduce your health, spirit, or supply, or some combination thereof by that amount, or undermine your progress in a current quest, journey, or fight. Oh, already I'm getting stressed at the fact that there's a lot of organising, there's a lot of stuff going on, so this is probably why I was a bit about it at the beginning. I see you just have to go through bit by bit. Maybe if you're doing that gameplay aspect of it, maybe you have to take your time a bit. Certainly when you're starting out, right? So, max momentum. Your max momentum starts at +10 and is reduced by 1 for every marked ability. There's a spot on your character sheet to record this value. You cannot increase the momentum of your max. If you're at your max and a move gives you an option to increase your momentum, you can't take that benefit. Boo, I say. So, meanwhile, we've got progress track. So, progress track is where we measure your pace and determine the outcome of a goal or challenge in specific situations. When you swear an iron vow, the progress track represents the challenges you overcome on your way to achieving the ultimate goal. When you undertake a journey, a progress track represents how far you've gone and how favourable the travel has been. When you enter the fray, a progress track represents your advantage as you weakened or wound your foes in combat. And then finally, when you establish a new relationship with a character in your world and forge a bond, mark your bond on a progress track. Okay, again, I'm sure it's fine. I'm already going, there's a lot of management stuff. Progress tracks are drawn as a row of 10 boxes, which you fill in or mark as you make headway with your goal. When you initiate a challenge, these boxes are empty. See, again, this character sheet. Realistically, I would love this to be an Excel spreadsheet. I could like click and everything would update itself. I go back to thinking about those character keepers, tracker keepers that you have for certain games done by the Gauntlet. Maybe there is one. I should check it out. Since making progress on your quest may stretch over many sessions, your character sheet includes progress tracks for vows. Your character sheet also includes a progress track for bonds, does it? I don't think it... Oh, it is at the top there, Fiona. There's bonds and character sheet. For journeys and fights, you can sketch out your progress track on whatever is convenient or use a challenge worksheet provided at Ironsworn RPG. Oh, it's got the link there as well. Okay, let's have a look. See, is there a down the player sheet? I can see there's so many. Ah, there you go. There's the progress stuff there. I was going to say there's lots of reference stuff going there, but let's see. Those look like. Okay, they're not too bad, are they? Ooh. I wonder what those mean. We'll come back to that. I'm sure it's important for later us. Challenge ranks. When you engage in a fight, initiate a journey, or swear a vow, you must give your challenge a rank. In increasing orders of difficulty. Oh no. Your ranks are troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, and epic. Tag yourself. I'm epic. Or extreme. You or your GM will choose a rank appropriate to the situation and how quickly or easily it should be resolved. Troublesome is used for simple challenges. A typical challenge, either dangerous or formidable. Epic and extreme challenges require great effort and luck to overcome. There are guidelines for foes on page 134 and for journeys on 111. Give your vows a rank appropriate to the complexity of your quest and the amount of emphasis you want to give the vow on your story. Marking progress. You'll perform specific moves to advance towards your goal. For example, you travel across the perilous lands, you undertake a journey and mark progress when you successfully reach waypoints in your travel. So here is the move undertake a journey. This move lets you mark a progress on a strong or weak hit. So yeah, if we go here, on a strong hit, you reach a waypoint. If the waypoint is unknown to you, envision it. Ooh, ask the oracle, and then choose one. You make good use of your resources, that's mark of progress. Or you move at speed, mark a progress and take +1 momentum, but suffer 1 supply. On a weak hit, you reach a waypoint and mark the progress, but suffer 1 supply. Excellent. Okay, so far so good. I think I'm getting that. Similarly, when you fight, you strike or clash to inflict harm on your foes. Move forward in your quest, use the reach and milestone move. These oh, I see. These are again, these are I guess when I come up to it, it will tell me exactly mark progress, etc. To move forward in your quest, use reach and milestone move. These incremental moves will let you amass advantages to have the best chance of success when you are ready to resolve your challenge. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Whoop. Okay, whenever you successfully move towards your goal, you partially or fully fill in a box on the progress track. Oh no, just keep it simple. Oh no, why would you make it more difficult? You fill progress boxes with lines called ticks. A full progress box consists of 4 ticks in a star-shaped pattern. When a move tells you to mark progress, fill in the appropriate amount of ticks or progress boxes based on the rank of your challenge. So troublesome is you mark 3 progress, so you do the full thing. 2, you do 2, 1 there. Extreme, you only mark 2 ticks, and then 1 epic is 1 mark. Oh gosh, that sounds so... You'll never do those epic ones. That's the whole campaign, isn't it? So it's cool. It's cool. Just keep it simple. Just add more boxes. Add like what? I guess it's 10, so yeah, if it's epic, just add like, I don't know, 30 more boxes and you get 40 progress. Oh, that's... I get it, but oh, that just makes it just... God, I'd never get anywhere. Anyway, marking progress for bonds. You're marking progress on your bonds track. You always mark 1 tick unless a move tells you otherwise. Bonds are not given a challenge rank. To learn more about them, see page 24. Wait, one tick, so it'll just be one line, right? Yeah, that's what epic is there. You're really gonna make us work for these relationships, just like Sims all over again. Look at that image. Yeah, a little bit of that Photoshop there. Let's have a look. See. I don't think they're really on a boat, do you? That's being mean. That's being mean. Hey, look, better than that. What I could do. Okay, progress moves. Oh god, so that was all action moves. No, we did. No, sorry, ignore me. So there are 4 moves called progress moves, which utilize the progress tracks to resolve an outcome of a goal or a challenge. So to resolve a quest, we have fulfill your vow, reach your destination to end the journey, decide the outcome of a fight, which is end the fight, and then when you retire from your life as an Ironsworn, which might be very soon, write your epilogue. This label identifies. Oh, so it says there. Progress move, which is excellent. For a progress move, use a progress roll instead of an action roll. See how that works next. Okay, so it's going to be different to that challenge and the action scores and stuff like that. Let's have a look, see then. Progress rolls. You don't make an action roll when you make a progress move. Instead, you tally the number of fully filled progress boxes, those with 4 ticks. This is your progress score. Then you roll your challenge die and compare the progress score to the value of the dice. With an action roll, if your progress score is greater than both the challenge rolls, it's a strong hit. If you beat one of the challenge rolls, it's a weak hit, and if you fail to beat either, it's a miss. But the progress move will tell you how to resolve the challenge based on the outcome of your roll. Also, keep an eye out for the match, which represents a surprising twist or unusual complication. So, in the example below, we would compare your +6 progress score to the challenge dice when making a progress move. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6. That's the current progress score. So we can see here that it has to be. The progress score has to beat the challenge die. So we've got 1 challenge die that's a success and 1 that's a 6, so it does not work. So it has to be over. Okay. When deciding whether to mark your progress, you need to weigh the chance of success against the risk of continuing to make preparatory moves. One thing to remember, it's not necessary to fill your progress track before making your progress move. Yeah, it feels like, that'd be hard. In fact, a weak or a miss on a progress roll can lead to new story possibilities. Momentum and progress rolls. Momentum is ignored when you make a progress roll. That makes sense. You cannot burn momentum on a progress roll, and you do not suffer negative momentum. Yeah, so it's all about this. It's all about the journey, the external factors. I understand. Sharing progress tracks with allies. When you and your allies are working together, so that's when you're doing co-op or guided. Resolve a challenge, quest, a journey, or a fight. You share a progress track and mark the progress together. Oh, cool. All right. When you make a progress move, only one of you rolls the dice. The rest will stand for the group. Again, I don't know why you're just not making it simpler. Harm represents physical damage and fatigue. You inflict harm on your foes in combat, and you endure harm when you are attacked or fail to overcome a physical hazard or ordeal. Inflicting harm. When you successfully attack a foe using strike or clash moves, you inflict harm. If you are armed with a deadly weapon such as a sword, axe, spear, or bow, you inflict 2 harm. If you're unarmed or using an improvised weapon, a chair, that's a really bad improv joke, you inflict 1 harm. And you may have the option to inflict additional harm through the choices you make in a move. Each point of harm you inflict is marked as a progress on your foe's progress track, as appropriate to their rank. For example, each point of harm equals 2 ticks when fighting an extreme enemy, or 2 full progress boxes when fighting a dangerous enemy. Okay, yeah, I get it. I just, okay. At least the you're not rolling for ticks or how much damage you do, because that would be too much. When you face a physical injury or hardship, make the endure harm move. As part of that move, you reduce your health track by that amount harmed. Oof. There are 5 ranks of harm. So we've got troublesome, which is 1. Dangerous is 2. Unbeatable, which is 3. Extreme 4. And epic 5. Excuse me. I think you've only got let's go back to that character. I think you've only got 6 health. Oh no, you got 5. Oh, so you die instantly. When you're fighting a foe, they inflict harm based on their rank. A sample foes are found later on in Chapter 5. If you are at 0 health, a miss on the endure harm move puts you at risk of suffering a debility or dying. You can recover health through rest and recuperation and using moves such as heal, make camp, or soldier. Oh gosh. Sojourn. Stress. Of course, now we come to stress. But that wasn't enough. Stress represents mental burdens and trauma. When you face a mental shock or despair, you make endure stress move. Part of that move, you reduce your spirit track by the amount of stress you have suffered. There's 5 ranks of stress, it's going to be the same thing. Troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, and epic, which are leading up to like 1 to 5. When you are opposing a foe, they can inflict stress, such as a terrifying visage or demoralizing taunt based on their rank. And sample foes are found later on. When you endure stress, you reduce your spirit track by that amount of stress suffered. If you're at 0, you're in danger of suffering a debility or falling into desolation. You can recover spirit by relaxing when you make camp, finding fellowship when you sojourn, or when you forge a bond. Unlike harm, you do not inflict stress on others, at least not mechanically, but you do feel it. You can make attempt to frighten, or if you attempt to frighten or demoralize another character, make the appropriate move and see what happens. I may go insane from the background music soon too. Alright, I'll see if there's anything that's not too aggressive. Let's see. Right, that one instead. I'll change it over so for you. That one. The problem is I've got a lot of combat music, which is fine, but also music gets very tense. Maybe repeating it, maybe quieten it or mix it up. Changed it a little bit. We'll see how this goes. But let me know how that sounds. To be fair, I've been doing this for an hour and 16. It was time for a change. Let me just turn it down a little bit. Assets, a key component of your character. They give you additional bonus options and bonuses when making a move, and may include in their own special moves. When you create a character, you select. See what I mean? It's very intense, this music. Let's see if I can find something better. It's just. What's the problem? I've got the Strixhaven one, which might be a little bit better. There was an app I saw called, I think, the Bard app, which you would have the combat music, but then you could be like, oh, the baddie's gone away, but we'll keep the intensity up or something, and you could change all that stuff out, so that was quite good. Let's try that one. My usual go-to, like, slightly study one. Now it's way too quiet. What's the Waltz of Books is probably a better one. Let's just. There we go. A bit more gentle. Music is hard. You're telling me. That's why I don't do it, Dan. That's why you're the better podcast. I don't do it. I hate it. They give you additional options and bonuses when making a move, and they may include their own special moves. When you create a character, you start by you select your starting assets, and when you fulfill your vow and gain experience, you can advance and spend experience on new assets or upgrading character assets. Yeah, that makes sense. My tea got in the way there. You can mix and match assets however you like. There are no designated assets based on a character class or roles. However, you should avoid picking the same assets of another player. That's really cool, so you can really make it customizable on that front. So, here we go. Let me zoom out a little bit so we can see the full thing. So we have, this is an asset type at the top here, a path. You can choose from companions, paths, combat talents, and rituals. Most assets include a default ability, represented by the filled-in circle. Oh, okay. If it doesn't have a starting ability, you get to pick one. Oh, that's quite cool. So, I see, like a path, so you sort of level up as you go. Oh, very cool. That's quite cool. Assets, sorry, I have to go down a little bit. Assets usually modify moves by giving you a bonus or allow you to use the move in a different way. Some assets include their own unique moves. moves. And then, as you gain experience, you can purchase upgrades for your assets. When you purchase an upgrade, you fill in the circle to show that you now have that ability. Let's look at the Slayer path then. So, the default ability you get when you choose this path is that when you gather information by tracking a beast or a horror, or when you secure an advantage by readying yourself for a fight against them, add a +1 and then take +1 momentum on a hit. And I guess that's a hit of either strong and or weak, right? And then these two, which you don't get straight away, but if you were going to get them, when you swear on an iron vow to slay a beast or a horror, you may re-roll any dice. When you fulfill your vow, mark experience and take 1 experience. Mark 1 wait. Oh no. What do you mean? Mark experience and take 1 experience. Just what? Anyway, when you slay a beast or a horror, at least a formidable, so that's the ranking, you may take a trophy and choose it. Power of ritual. When you or an ally makes a ritual move, reroll any dice, 1 time only. Oh, so good. Prove your worth. When you sojourn, reroll any dice. Okie dokie. Right, with all that out of the way, we've now got oracles. Which might, again, you might not need to use. You can just, it's just, again, it's an extra thing, right? Some moves may prompt you to roll on a table to generate a result between 1 and 100. There is also a set of creative prompts in Chapter 6, which you can use to reveal details, trigger events, or guide the actions of other characters in your world. These oracles help answer questions in solo or co-op games, or provide inspiration for the GM in guided play. Cool. Whenever you are prompted by a move or an oracle table to generate a result between 1 and 10, roll 10-sided dice, and it's going to tell me, like, have 10s in units to make it easier, or have different colours. Yeah, makes sense. You might want a special set of dice for your oracle rolls shared by everyone at the table. It'll make those dice feel special and unique. Because that's what they want. They want, you guys are special and unique, just like all my other D10s. Seeking answers. If you're playing solo or co-op, you can ask the oracle to help guide your game session and trigger ideas when you need to know what happens next. Its most basic function is to answer a yes or no question. Combined with your own instincts and creativity. This move and other random prompts can push your story in surprising and exciting directions. To learn more about this move, see 107. Okay, so this, yes, ask the oracle, so let's read it out. Let's see what we've got. When you seek to resolve questions, discover details about the world, determine how other characters respond, or trigger events or encounters, you may, this is the trigger at the top here, draw a conclusion, decide on an answer based on the most interesting and obvious result. Very improv that, go for the obvious. Ask a yes or no question, decide on the odds of the yes and roll on the table below to check the answer. Pick 2, envision 2 options, rate 1 as likely, and then roll on the table below to see if it's true. If not, it is the other. And then spark an idea, brainstorm, or use a random prompt. Okay, and then we've got the odds. Almost certain, likely, 50-50, unlikely, small chance. Interesting. And so you got, you get the, right, you get the numbers there as well. On a match, so if you roll doubles, the extreme result or twist has occurred. Oh, cool. Very cool. I would say for these 4 options, there's too many options. I like the table. Don't get me wrong, I like the table. I think you need to put these 2 answers, so draw a conclusion, decide an answer based on the most interesting obvious result. Like, these 2 are obvious. This should be it. These 2 options here. Just because there's so much, you've already got so much in this game. So, it's an either or, I think. Like, I think it should be obvious, actually. You know, asking the oracle is a completely optional thing to do, right? It's just to give you a trigger or something. And, like, don't get me wrong, I love a good random table, but I'm just already, like, in my head, I'm like, well, I know what, I don't know, the wolf comes forward and bites me, or something like that. Like, I already know what the answer is. So, if you're playing with a GM, then they are the oracle. Maybe you should call them the oracle, then. You'll see a prompt of Ask the Oracle, turn to your GM. The GM is free to leverage random tools and creative prompts to come up with the answers. But keep in mind that even with playing with GM, Ironsworn is about shared storytelling. Offer suggestions, talk it out. The GM is the final arbiter of what happens next, but everyone at the table should participate in building the world and creating the narrative of your game. More randomness. Change places. If you ever wanted to do over a party, I reckon, and everyone's sat down and it's all like feels a bit dead, just shout change places and then get up and pretend to run to another place. And make it obvious that, and be like, there's one less chair, and then whoever stood up be like, oh, you're out. It makes no sense. You'll find a set of random tables in chapter 6. These provide inspirational prompts and random results for common situations. You can also use whatever random generators you prefer, including those drawn from another game, online generators, or visual tools such as tarot cards. Oh, well, big fan of using those. She says, looking at her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 different kinds of tarot cards. And I never use them. They're just so pretty. I got a set of Cult Divinity Lost ones, and they're very different to other tarot cards. It obviously uses the same system, or same sort of like minor and major arcana. But put it this way, I won't be getting them out anytime soon. To show people, because they're like, ooh, they are graphic. Trust your instincts. These random generators will never replace your own imagination and intuition. If it's interesting, dramatic, and pushes the story forward, make it happen. Too much reliance on random generators to answer questions about what happens next can kill momentum of your game, or make it feel disconnected and incoherent. Keep it moving. Ask a question. If an answer leaps to mind, go for it. If you're not sure, ask the Oracle, then play. Yeah, same old, same old. Bonds. As you explore your world and complete quests, you'll create bonds with people and communities by making the Forge a Bond move. Bonds give you advantages for specific moves when interacting with those you have bonded with. For example, you can attempt a compel person, and if you share a bond with them, you can add a +1 to your action score. So this is like there's the adds. The moves tell you when you the moves tell you when having a bond provides a disadvantage. That's good. I guess all the moves will tell you, like, here's when to add stuff, which will probably be very helpful to know that, certainly if you're playing for the first time. Bonds also help you determine your fate when you retire from your life as an adventurer. The more bonds you create, the more connections you have with people and communities, the better chance to live out your days peacefully in the company of others. Oh, God. I have to be social? Oh. Why can't I be the weird hermit person that just lives in a cave and has, I don't know, a pack of wolves around her? Although no doubt those wolves would actually eat me and kill me. Your character sheet has a special progress for bonds. When they successfully forge a bond, mark one tick on the progress track. When your adventures are complete and you write your epilogue, tally your bonds and make a progress roll to wrap up the character's story. Other characters in the mechanics of Ironsworn are almost entirely character-facing, meaning they reference the capabilities and actions of your character. Other non-player characters and creatures, NPCs, don't have the mechanical detail. Thank God. Or thank the gods. In fact, they may only have a single stat, their rank, for tracking progress against them in a combat scene. Further, NPCs do not make moves. You won't roll dice for them to determine the outcome of their actions. When you attempt to influence them, oppose them, resist them, or aid them, make moves as your character. If you have questions about an NPC's motivation or what they do next, ask the Oracle. To learn more, go to page 133. Okay, so there's a lot for... Again, I'm just thinking for solo play. It reminds me so much of the One Ring solo RPG, which... The One Ring 2nd edition is great. I highly recommend it, but having the solo version on top of it, it adds like another layer of stuff, which is already a very complicated game, if a fun game. So it's the same here. I'm like, oh, at least here I don't have to worry about those NPCs. I don't have to worry about creatures. It's about what my character can do. That makes sense on that front. But already I'm like, oh, do I need the Oracle? My brain not creative enough. Allies and companions. If you're playing a co-op or guided game with other players, their characters are referred to in these rules and in the moves as your allies. A companion is a special type of asset. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. I always think of the Doctor and his companions, and then they're like, no, we're just normal people. I'm like, okay, I don't know, Amy Pond, Rose Tyler, Martha. Unlike normal NPCs, you can provide mechanical benefits through their abilities, and they have a health track to record harm. If the text ever refers to a companion, it means a companion asset. To learn more about companions, see page 39. Like, I know, if I go to it, here are some companions. Let's go and have a look at their stuff. We have a giant spider, terrifying. Cave lion, a horse, a hound, kindred, mammoth. Oh, that'd be great to have a mammoth with you. Yeah, you can see on these companion a cave lion, your cat takes down its prey. Terrifying. Oh, they've got a little line each. That's quite cool. So you've got the spider uncovers secrets. So here's some stuff that I guess if you gain the experience, you could mark in it. So for example, that cave lion, you've got eager. When your cat chases down a big game, you may resupply with plus edge instead of wits. If you do, take +1 supply or or +1 momentum on a strong hit. Inescapable. When you enter the fray or strike by sending your cat to attack, roll plus edge. On a hit, take +2 momentum. And then protective. When you make camp, your cat is alert to trouble. If you or your ally choose to relax, take +1 spirit. If you focus, take +1 momentum. And you can see there it's got 4 health, I'm guessing. That's what that is at the bottom. Oh, got a raven there, but it's only got 2 health. So, there's some examples of companions, by the way, but I that spider one. Like discreet, if you secure an advantage by sending your spider to scout a place, add +1 to the roll, so that'd be your action score, add it to the action score, and +1 momentum on a hit. Okay, cool. Soul piercing. You may face danger plus shadow by sending your spider to secretly study someone. Or on a hit, the spider returns to reveal the target's deepest fears through a reflection of its glassy eyes. It's probably the spider. Use this to gather information and re-roll any dice. How terrifying. It reminds me of, what's the game? It's a game where you play like, it's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but it's like, I can't remember what it's called now, but they've got those huge huntsman spiders in the game, and it's absolutely terrifying. Ensnaring. When your spider sets a trap, add +1 as you enter the fray, roll shadow. On a strong hit, also inflict 2 harm. Oh, it's a trapdoor spider. I played recently in a game of Call of Cthulhu that my friend's learning how to run Call of Cthulhu because they're going to start up a podcast about it, which is very exciting. And they created like this little one-shot for me and my other friend to run through. And it turned out that the big horrible thing at the end was essentially a big trapdoor spider. Oh, those things are horrible. They're like one of the coolest spiders, but also the speed of them. Oh. Anyway, grounded. Thank you, One True Kit. I appreciate that. Nice to see you there. Thank you. Yes, grounded. It's a really great game. But those huntsman spiders. I remember when I first played it. We didn't know what we were doing. So of course we were in the middle of the night, trying to set up camp. I'm like, what's that sound? And it's coming through the leaves, just big red eyes, and I was like, run away. What I loved about it was it's been a while since I played, but I remember when we were playing with other people, you would see their name tag, and you could, obviously we're on like Discord or whatever, you see them sort of walking over to one bit, and then they go, fuck, and you see them run back, and you're like, they've found a spider. It's a cracking game. Spiders of any scale are a bit much. I completely agree, but there's something about being the size of an ant and not being aware about how, I didn't realise how big they were on that front. But yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for reminding me, because I couldn't remember the name of it at all. I need to play it, because I really enjoy it. Equipment. In Ironsworn, you don't worry too much about equipment. Oh, thank God. Your supply track is an abstract representation of your general readiness, clothes, ammo, food, water, and mundane gear. God, imagine if you were, like, what's it say here? We'll go back to the play. Ooh, come on. Oh no, don't freeze on me now. There we go. Oh, gosh damn it. Supply. Imagine you're at 0. Oh, I've lost all my clothes. You're armed and armoured as appropriate to your vision for your character. If you wield a weapon, you can inflict harm on it. You are armed with a deadly weapon such as a sword, axe, spear, or bow. You inflict 2 harm. Yep, unarmed, improvised weapon, a chair. You inflict 1 harm. Other equipment provides narrative benefit. It enables you to make moves where the gear is important, or perhaps allows you to avoid a move altogether. For example, you need to make your way down a steep rock face. Without assistance, you will make a face danger move to see what happens. But if you had rope, the climb is not particularly risky or uncertain. Sorry. In that case, you might skip the move and just narrate the results. So that's quite cool. Rather than giving you like a dice advantage or an ad, perhaps, you just like, oh well, you got the stuff for it. Just move on to him. So I think that's quite cool. Specific assets can make equipment more important and relevant to your character. For example, combat talent assets represent your expertise in a particular weapon or fighting style. When you wield an appropriate weapon, you gain the benefit of the asset. Apart from the assets, you can make note of equipment at whatever level of detail you like, but don't fuss over it. Absolutely. If you're wondering whether you have a particular mundane item, you can just ask the Oracle. You have it. You've got it. The flow of play. Like most role-playing games, you primarily role-play from the perspective of your character. What are you doing? What are you trying to achieve? What opposition and challenges do you face? Your quest and the characters and the situations you encounter will guide the fiction and the choices you make. When you have questions about what you find and how the other characters in the world respond or what happens next, you can go with what feels right if you're playing solo or co-op, or ask your GM. Whether you're seeking inspiration or want to put it in the hands of fate, then you ask the Oracle, or you make the Ask an Oracle move. Use the yes-no questions, random prompts to generate interesting twists and new complications you might not have thought of otherwise on your own. Above all, if it's interesting, dramatic, and fits the fiction, make it happen. Very cool. If you're doing something that's covered by a move, refer to the move and resolve your action. If it tells you to roll dice, do so. Scoring a strong hit on a move means you're in control. You're driving the narrative. What do you do next? A weak hit or a miss means you don't have control of the situation. Instead of acting, you react. What happens next? Well, if you're playing with a GM, they'll determine how the world responds. Otherwise, you have to rely on your own intuition and the occasional oracle rolls to drive the narrative. It's quite a nice little essay on that. I will say this whole book is written very simple language, which just makes it easy to read and certainly easy to speak aloud as well. And it kind of makes sense. Of course, there's a little bit of repetition, obviously, but already I'm like, okay, that sounds good. I mean, like I said, there's a lot to it. Oh, look at that, you know. There's even a bloody flow diagram. Incredible. Let's look at it. So, if we're doing any sort of action, I guess, or progress roll, I guess. So we start here. Envision the current situation and what you're doing. When your action or the current situation triggers a move, make the move, and then we've got the 3 sort of levels of success: a strong hit or weak hit or a miss. And it's like, what do you do next? And you go back up here. What happens next? Ask questions about the world or other characters, or ask the Oracle. Very good. Again, straightforward enough, but it's actually quite nice to have that there. Maybe I'm sure it's going to be on that reference sheet in a second when I go and look at it. What's next? So, that's the basics of playing Ironsworn. Tick. Roll credits. You'll see these concepts referenced and expanded throughout the rulebook, but it's not necessary to read it all or understand before playing. So let's get started. So we're going to create our character. So we're going to select the stats, set stats, select your assets, and consider background and personality. And then the other chapters refer to that building the world itself, reviewing the moves, which is always useful to have. Review an example of play. Oh, okay. So I'm probably going to have the same. Like a written text example, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I think for something like this, it could make sense. See how it's done. Swear an iron vow. Play to see what happens. When you have questions about moves, see page 40. Oh, that's interesting. You can click on the actual page as well. That's pretty good. When you need to, page 49. When you need a foe and encounter, see page 133. And when you seek answers from the Oracle, see page 165. Dig deeper. When you're ready to explore campaign setup guides, additional gameplay options, and best practices, see chapter 7. Nice, nice, nice. The mother asked the seer to divine her new baby's fate. The old mystic came and looked at the sleeping child. She tilted her head and closed her eyes. Then she drew back frowning. No need to ask the gods. No need to roll the stones. Ironsworn, the seer said. She took her price in silver and blood and left the mother alone with the baby. That night, the mother wept, for she knew her child would grow to live apart from her. Whether consumed by duty or vengeance, wanderlust or what love, it was all the same. The trackless wilds would call, the blade and shadow would whisper their secrets, and her child would leave. She cried for the life her child would live, and she cried for the knowing of it. Whoa. Your character. A great poster. You are Ironsworn. Alright, so my plan, what we on? We're on an hour and 40, that's not too bad. Let's see how far we can get with the character creation. We won't create a character. It'll be just interesting to know what it entails essentially. Is it a lot of setup? Because it feels like there's a lot of moving parts. And then we'll call it a night there. I don't think I washed the mug out properly. There's definitely a sense of washing up liquid in the end of that tea. Anyway, others live out their lives hardly venturing beyond the walls of their village or steading, but you are different. You sworn vows to lead a life of danger, heroism, and sacrifice at the end of the known world. Envisioning your character. Before you jump into the mechanics of your character, consider their motivations, skills, interests, skills, personality, and weaknesses. It's fine to start with one or two ideas about your background or goals. You can flesh out your character as you play. Be awesome! Was it Ed? Is it Ed and Ted? Yeah. Ted and Ed's excellent adventure. Be awesome, dudes. That's excellent, be excellent, isn't it? Yeah. Your character is highly competent. You're smart, brave, and driven. Thanks for what about in the game. You can hold your own in a fight. When you swear an iron vow, you mean it. But you're not without your limitations. You'll face hardship. You'll make bad decisions. You will fail. Overcoming those failures, pushing on, is what makes you heroic. Be who you want. The people of the Ironlands are diverse. Communities are formed through shared interests, mutual protections, and strong leadership. Respect is still paid to traditions of the old world, but Ironlanders are largely left behind their cultural divisions when they cross the vast northern oceans. Even within a single community, you'll find a fusion of old world and Ironland influences. You can envision your character however you like, unbounded by geography, lineage, sexual orientation, and gender. You can be directly inspired by real-world or historical culture, or you may weave a blend of cultural influences into your concept. The default setting is human-centric, and these rules do not include specific options to play fantasy races. Interesting. However, you can change that to your liking. The mechanics of your character are relatively light and can be themed to support several types of fantasy or historic fiction. So again, not gamifying your lineage or race or species. It's like it's how you look in. It doesn't affect your ability to do anything, which is great. I really like that. It's such a simple way of putting it. Really good. Good work, Sean Tomkin. Where to start? You can build your world, build your character, or do both in tandem. If you have a clear idea for your character, start there and build the world around them, as if you've built a set to suit your actor. Oh, that's quite good. You need inspiration, start with the world. Chapter 4 includes prompts for situations and quests to help you envision your character and your place in the Ironlands. Oh, and come on. There you go, we've got this is what a sort of play area would look like. So you've got your character sheet there, and then you've got your assets at the bottom there. So you've got your path, combat talent, and probably a companion, possibly. I'm going to go through it all. So we've got the name at the top. Oh, excuse me. For inspiration, you can roll on the Ironlanders name table. Great. Why don't we do that now? We're on page 33. Let's go to... Oh, I've gone too far. Yeah, oh no, it stopped responding. This is where it's my own fault. We all saw that coming, didn't we? Wait for it to... Oh, it's... Okay. I now can't remember what it was. Let's get back to that page once it's loaded up again. Never mind. Well, they're called Fiona. That's all we care about. They're called Fiona. Page of 4. Oh, so close. 1. Actually, I could just click there, can't I? Alright, we'll try again. Excellent. Ooh. Cool. Alright, let's the D10s out. I rolled a 69. Way and indeed hay. What have I got for 69? There you go. Masaya. No, that's not how you pronounce it at all. Cool, but there we got a name. That was nice and simple. Let's go back to page 33. Stats. There are 5 stats, each given a value from between 1 and 3. When you make a move or roll dice, you usually add one of these stats to your action die. Yep. So we've got Edge, Heart, Iron, Shadow, Wits. Edge is a quickness, agile, prowess, and ranged combat. Heart is courage, willpower, empathy, sociability, and loyalty. That'll be a 0 for Fiona. Iron is physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess in close combat. So Edge is for ranged, Iron is for close combat. Shadow is sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. And then Wits is expertise, knowledge, and observation. To start, range these bonuses across your 5 stats in any order. So we've got 1, 3, 2 2s, and 1 1. Nice, straightforward. I much prefer that. I much prefer standard array stuff, or like generate stuff like that. Health. Health is represented by your current. Oh, you know what? I should zoom in a little bit more. Appreciate it. Sorry. There we go. Everyone can see. Health represents your current physical condition and stamina ranked on from 0 to +5. Health is reduced when you endure harm, and increased when you rest or receive care, such as the heal or sojourn. Yeah, I don't know why I panic. If you're at 0 health, scoring a miss when you endure harm puts you at risk of suffering a debility or dying. To start, your health track is at +5. Makes sense? Spirit is your current mental state ranked between 0 and +5. It's reduced when you endure stress. It's increased when you find comfort in companionship, success, or relaxed moments through moves such as make camp or forged a bond. If you're at 0 spirit, scoring a miss when you endure stress puts you at risk of suffering a debility or falling into desolation. But to start with +5. Nice. Supply. We've talked about this before, is an abstract representation of your preparedness, including ammo, food, water, and general upkeep. Ranked between 0 and +5. Instead of keeping a track of a detailed inventory, you can consider most of your mundane gear as covered under supply. It's decreased when you undertake a journey move. You may also reduce supply as a narrative cost when you face hardship as an outcome of other moves. For example, if you make the face danger move to ford a wild river, you might lose some gear as a result of a weak hit or miss. Supply is increased when you gather provisions through such moves as resupply. Supply track represents shared assets amongst your party if you're doing that. Oh, if you and your allies use the same supply track value when you travel together, if any of you makes a move to increase supply or suffer the result of a move, each of you adjusts your supply track accordingly. If the error falls to 0, all the characters make an out of supply move. If you're at 0 and suffer additional amount of supply, you must each reduce your health, spirit, or momentum tracks by that amount. To start, your supply track is at +5. Hooray! You do have clothes. You and your allies share the same supply value when you adventure together. When one of you makes a move that raises or lowers the supply track, each of you should make the adjustment on your character sheet. Literally just repeating up there. I guess the whole point of this is having boxes so that you can just go to that as you're quickly going through games. Like, yeah. The momentum represents how you're faring in your quest. It is gained and lost through moves. If you have positive momentum, you're building on your successes and ready to make decisive moves. You have negative momentum. You have suffered setbacks and your quest is in jeopardy. We've already talked about it, how it helps and hinders. On the left side of your sheet, to record your current momentum. It also includes boxes to indicate your max momentum and your momentum reset. Max momentum is at the beginning is a +10, but it's reduced by 1 for every marked ability. and your momentum reset is a +2. If you have one debility mark, it's a +1. Any more than that, it's 0. To start, your current momentum is at +2, and your max is +10, and your momentum reset is +2. So you start off with. Right. When you swear a vow, you give it a rank. So those 5 ranks again are troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, or epic. You record it on your character sheet. You then use a vow progress track to mark when you reach a milestone. So, you should start your first session with 2 vows, a long-term goal, which is your background vow, an immediate situation which must be dealt with, your inciting incident. You can find quest starters in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, and you can learn more about it on page 195. Great. You build bonds. As you build relationships and complete quests in the service of others, you create bonds by making the Forged a Bond move. Bonds provide narrative texture to your world by fleshing out other characters and communities. They give you places to return to and people to reconnect with when your life as an Ironsworn has taken its toll. Bonds also provide mechanical benefits when you act within a community or interact with someone with whom you share a bond. For example, the Soldier move gives you a bonus to your action roll if you have bonded with that community. The Bonds progress track on your character represents the connections you have made. When you have successfully forged a bond, you mark progress, which is just 1 tick. When your time as an Ironsworn is done, write your epilogue. When you make this move, you tally the number of filled-in boxes on your bond track, progress track as your progress score. The page to learn about progress track and progress moves. So yeah, okay, progress roll. I understand. You should start your first session with up to 3 background bonds. Make a note of people or the communities you share the bonds with and mark up to 3 ticks on your bond progress track. To learn more about your first session and starting bonds, see page 193. Debilities. As you suffer hardships and setbacks in your quests, you may need to mark debilities as the result of moves or narrative events. Moves will tell you which debility to mark or give you a choice. Debilities represent temporary, long-term, and permanent disadvantages. Some can be easily cleared through an appropriate move. Others will be forever a part of your character. Debilities should have a narrative impact on how you envision your character's actions and how others react to you. I'd be careful here. They also have a mechanical impact, reducing your momentum track. So I've talked about this before. Each marked ability reduces your maximum momentum by 1, and if you've already got 1, the reset goes down to +1, and then if you have more, it goes to 0, but it doesn't go any lower than 0. Okay, conditions. Wounded may be marked when you're at 0 health and fail and endure harm. You're severely injured and need treatment to recover. Shaken may be marked when you're at 0 spirit. And fail and endure stress. You are despairing or distraught and need comfort to recover. Unprepared is marked when you're at 0 supply and are out of supply. You and your allies share the same supply value and will all be marked unprepared together. Encumbered is marked as appropriate to the circumstances when you're carrying excessive or cumbersome weight. A bit interesting to do that if you're not marking out exactly what your inventory is. Oh, I'm sure it's going to tell me otherwise, right? As with all debilities, conditions impact on your maximum momentum and momentum reset. In addition, if you're wounded, shaken, or unprepared, you cannot increase the associated track. Oh, okay. So wounded, you can't increase your health. Shaken, you can't increase your spirit. And unprepared, you can't increase your supply. If a move gives you an opportunity to raise your health, spirit, or supply whilst the associated condition is marked, you can't take that option. You must clear the condition before improving the related status track. It can be cleared when you succeed on appropriate moves. So for example, you score a hit on a heal move that can clear the wounded condition. The shaken and unprepared conditions can only be cleared as you find fellowship and gather provisions in a community through the Soldier move. Oh, I have to go. Can I not just go to like the self-checkout? Talk to people. Once you clear a condition, you restore your maximum momentum and momentum reset, and you can once again increase the associated track through moves. Cool. Unlike other conditions, encumbered is not specifically triggered or resolved by a move. Instead, it should be marked when appropriate to the circumstances. For example, you would mark encumbered if you were carrying an unconscious ally to safety in a perilous situation. Encumbered, can also be triggered by the ironclad asset. It allows you to gain an advantage for heavy armor in exchange for marking the condition. Encumbered is cleared when you lighten the load. Okay, so other debilities we've got Banes. Maimed may be marked when you are at 0 health and fail and endure harm. You've suffered a wound which causes you to have ongoing physical challenges such as a loss of an eye or a hand, or you bear horrific scars for which serve as a constant reminder of your failures. Thanks. Corrupted. Corrupted may be marked when you are at 0 spirit and fail and endure stress. Your experiences have left you emotionally scarred. You are at the threshold of losing yourself to the darkness. Banes are permanent. They forever impact you through the momentum penalty and, more importantly, through narrative impact of being maimed or corrupted. I'm not a fan of the word maimed, I'll be honest, but I don't know what you would replace it with. You should factor this stability into how you perform moves and how you interact with the world. You may have a physical or emotional limitations you must cope with. Your outlook may change. Your goals and methods may change. How others behave towards you may change. If you are maimed, envision the injury and make a note of it. Consider how this impacts your approach when facing physical challenges and weave it into the roleplayer narrative of your moves. When you're corrupted, imagine how this impacts on your personality and motivations. You might struggle with a new compulsion, quirk, or fear. You might even bear a physical, supernatural sign of the corruption. If so, what is it? And then we've got burdens. Burdens is marked when you face death and return with a soul-bound quest. This burden can only be cleared by completing a quest. And tormented is marked when you face desolation and you undertake a quest to prevent a dire future. Burdens are the result of life-changing experiences that leave you bound to quests. Clearing a burden can only be done can only be accomplished by resolving the quest. When you are cursed or tormented, you should consider the physical or emotional manifestations of these conditions. You have walked the lands beyond death or suffered visions of your greatest fears. What signs do you bear? How do these experiences affect your relationships? When you create your characters, all abilities should be unmarked. Yeah, makes sense. Assets. Assets represent your background, skills, and traits. They give you additional options and bonuses when making a move, or sometimes act as their own self-contained moves. Assets provide both mechanical and narrative benefits. For example, if you are a herbalist, you can gain bonuses to your moves when treating injuries or sickness. You can envision your character identifying plants, diagnosing rare illnesses, or summoning up obscure facts about herbal remedies. I feel seen. Even when you're not making moves, your role colours the interests and manners of your character. Also, your expertise might offer story possibilities and new quests as you interact with others in need of your service. You know what this reminds me of? I'm looking as if I can see it over there. There is a book, a novella that came out, and it's by Becky Chambers, who wrote A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, the Wayfarers series, which is a cracking series. But her new little series of novels, it's about a person that travels from place to place, and they do tea ceremonies. And the idea is that they go to a town, people come and rock up and they say sort of what their problems are, what they're dealing with in terms of stress or issues, and rather than giving out advice or being a therapist, the person will make them a cup of tea and then obviously offer it and be like, oh well, this has got this and this in it to help. And it's just a way of sort of acknowledging those issues and giving them a chance to speak their truth and to speak their issues out, and then have a nice cup of tea. And that's I can imagine playing that sort of thing here. That would be really cool, actually. It's sort of almost like a Viking version of that. It's that particular book, like a psalm for. I'm gonna have to look it up now. It's the second book I'm reading. It's really, really cool. But yeah, that'd be really cool to play it in this setting. I hadn't thought of that before. Yes. Ironsworn assets are formatted as printable cards available for download. Yeah. You can put them along your character sheet for easy reference. Each asset card includes 3 abilities. There are 4 different types of asset cards. There are companions, paths, combat talents, and ritual. You can mix and match assets as you like, whatever fits your vision for your characters and their experiences and goals. The companions we talked about before, they are your NPC's helpers. When you acquire a companion, give them a name, and envision their appearance and personality. If they don't start with an ability, choose one. Upgrading a companion enables additional abilities. This is what we were talking about before. Companions utilize a health track and may suffer harm as a result of one of your moves. When your companion takes damage, mark the companion endures harm move. Make, not mark, to determine the outcome. Oh no. Paths. Paths represent your background, interests, training, and skills. They provide mechanical and narrative advantages, but they also reflect on who you are and how you interact with the world. For example, a ritualist would likely have a different outlook than a veteran. Choosing both the paths can reflect an evolution of your character or an interesting background. Very cool. So there's an example here. Yeah, there's 3 choices there. The Story Weaver comes with the first option filled in. Combat talents. Ironsworn characters are assumed to be skilled fighters. Even without a combat talent, you can wield weapons and perform combat moves. A combat talent reflects a particular area of expertise and gives you additional options and bonuses. Combat talent assets typically require you to wield a specific weapon, as noted in the asset text. So there you go, shield bearer there. For example, if you have a shield bearer and you don't have a shield at the ready, you can't use these assets abilities. Yep. And then finally we have rituals. Magic in Ironsworn is cast through rituals, which can help you support your actions or act as unique moves. Like all assets, rituals can be selected as you gain experience and can be upgraded over time to make them more flexible or powerful. All rituals utilize a move that is their default marked ability. You must make this move and the associated action to roll you must make this move and then the associated action roll to trigger the effect. Any secondary abilities you gain by upgrading these assets are dependent on performing the ritual as described in the default ability. Right, okay, so you can't necessarily pick and choose, you always have to do that first one there. So this one is an example of a communion. When you surround the remains of a recently deceased intelligent creature with lit candles and summon its spirit, roll plus heart. Add a +1, you share a bond. Oh, how sad. And then strong, weak, a miss I'm guessing doesn't happen. Make moves as appropriate on a strike. I feel like it would be nice if it was a bit more better formatted so it actually showed you you can actually go to the strong and go to the weak quickly. Tell you what you do when you fail, but then these other ones would add on if you upgraded them. Acquiring assets. So you may select 3 assets when you create your character, and additional ones can be acquired with experience points when you advance. Some assets may be only attained after you've fulfilled a narrative or mechanical requirements. This is in addition to the experience point cost. The text will be outlined. So Bannersworn requires that you have a marked bond with a leader or a faction. Oh, that's kind of a cool requirement. Yeah. If you have appropriate background bond or made forge a bond move with a leader or faction, you may add this asset. Then we have something like Battle Scarred, which requires that you are mained. You mark the ability, you may add the asset. Ritualist requires you fulfill your vow in service of an elder mystic and forge a bond to train with them. Once you've done that, you may add the asset. These feel very video gamey, don't they? For assets without a requirement, you should consider the narrative justification of when to add it to your character. What have you done to gain these abilities? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? How have your goals changed to support this new focus? Make your selection meaningful and in the context of the story. Again, you should have a box somewhere saying you pick 3 at the top, right, when you create the character. And then upgrading it, when you spend experience to upgrade it, you fill in the dot on the asset card to show you've acquired the ability. All assets include 3 abilities. The first will probably be filled in when you purchase the asset. If not, you get to choose one of the 3 to start. That's great. Upgrading an asset costs 2 experience. Abilities may be selected in any order. You don't have to activate the second ability to upgrade to the third one. Nice, I like that, so it's not necessarily linear. That's pretty cool. Okay, asset abilities. They provide one or more functions. Bonuses, so those adds for specific moves, probably for your action roll. They can allow you to alter the outcome of a move by re-rolling dice. They improve outcomes for successful moves, such as taking +1 momentum on a hit. They give you the option to exchange one resource for another, such as trading momentum to inflict additional harm. They allow you to use moves in unusual circumstances. They allow you to use a different stat than the one normally required by the move. They provide unique contained moves. Sorry, I struggled with that one. And they can also add narrative detail and create situations where you reveal more about your character or the world. Follow the directions on the asset to apply its abilities to your current situation. Nice, very cool. Requirements. Narrative circumstance and the outcome of failed moves may force you into situations where you can't leverage a key asset, making your adventure more challenging and dramatic. For example, if you don't have an animal pelt, you can't perform the bind ritual. You undertake a journey without your horse companion. Oh no, you won't gain the bonus. If you're an archer who's run out of arrows, you'll have to try something else. Use a sword. Before you make a move using an asset, take a moment to ensure you're properly positioned and equipped to use those abilities. That is fair. Using companion abilities. If you've got a companion, so that, you know, this giant spider, the horse, etc. Leveraging their abilities is an option, but not a requirement. Through the fiction, you can interact with your companion and have them perform tasks or assist you without using one of the asset abilities. For example, the horse companion can put you in position to travel at speed or get away from danger. That's just something they can do. When you leverage a companion's ability, you're inherently putting them at risk. If you roll a 1 on your action die when aided by a companion, any negative outcome of the move should involve your companion. Oh no, not Clopsy. Oh no. Depending on the circumstances, they might even suffer harm, be put in danger, or become separated from you, or refuse your commands. Okay, I like that. That's quite cool. Almost like a critical fumble. I like that a lot. When a companion suffers physical damage, you make the companion endures harm move. If they're at 0, they're in danger of being killed. And some moves can offer options to recover health. If your companion is killed, give yourself 1 experience point for each marked ability. Then remove the asset. If you require the same type of companion for the narrative of your quest and journeys, you can rebuy the asset at normal cost. Excuse me. Failing an asset move. Moves with an asset do not normally describe the result of a miss. Oh, I did wonder that, yeah. If an asset offers a self-contained move and doesn't provide a specific consequence for a miss, you can leverage the miss result of a failed danger move. Oh, that's good to know. On a miss, you fail or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. Pay the price. In short, make something negative happen as appropriate to the circumstances. I kind of wish that was on the card though, because otherwise I'll forget about it. And also, it feels like face danger. What does that say? Oh, it says it's been undermined. I need to now pay the price. It's like, just say pay the price. There's your miss move, you know. Failed rituals. Dabbling in the mystic arts is dangerous, and the results can be unpredictable. If the ritual goes wrong, envision what sort of backlash might be possible, or ask the oracle. You can also find a mystic backlash table on page 189. Nice. I love those tables. Failing a ritual might also lead to an entirely mundane result. Perhaps you were ambushed in the middle of the ritual, or you wasted time, or resources. You may choose to save any overt supernatural backlash for special circumstances, such as when you roll a match. That's probably quite fair, actually. Yeah, pretty good. And then you can download them. Oh, they should have had this at the top. To start, select free assets. Since this is a key aspect of your character, feel free to choose the aspects in the first step of the character creation. You can let your assets guide your concept, or vice versa. Oh, so that's quite cool. So rather than setting out your character, like the stats, etc., you pick the assets first and go, this is what I want to be, and then spec your character from there. That makes sense. Alright, hopefully it's the final bit, because I'm aware of time. And I don't want to go too late, because I don't, I appreciate there are other people living here with me. Experience. So when you fulfill your vow, you gain experience. The amount is based on the rank of the quest, and it ranges from 1 to 5 points. Put an X on the character sheet for each point you've earned. Oh, so it's not just a one tick or anything like that. Not that cruel here. Oh. When you advance, you spend the experience to purchase assets or upgrade an asset. Replace the X with a filled-in dot. Per the advance move, you may add a new asset by spending 3 experience, or upgrading it by spending 2 experience. Fair enough. Equipment. Make a note of any important equipment or items to start with. These could be things that impact on the narrative and the moves you make, to provide texture to your character's background. They don't offer mechanical bonuses unless they are represented by an asset, such as a weapon used in a combat talent. You can assume that you are equipped for travel and adventure as represented by your supply track. Don't worry about managing rations or ammo or other mundane necessities. There is no limit by the rules, but envision your character's place in society and consider the availability of resources in your version of the Ironlands. By default, a fine sword or a set of quality armour is rare and marks you as someone of note. It influences how people react to you in the fiction of your game. If you want to begin your adventures as a typical islander, envision yourself outfitted with cheap, mundane gear. A hand-me-down set of quilted armour, a ratty travelling cloak, a battered wooden shield, a spear and a worn knife. Improving your lot in life can be part of your narrative journey. Yeah, keep it simple. I absolutely agree. Becoming Ironsworn. In your first session, envision your current situation. Something has happened or is about to happen that puts you on the path of the Ironsworn, and this is your inciting incident. Make it personal, give it teeth. It's not a situation you can just walk away from. You must set things right. Oh, very cool. You can look at the prompts for vows in Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, or you can ask the Oracle and interpret the meaning of the answer, because I can imagine this is actually quite a lot. The character creation actually is very straightforward. It's just those vows that could be really hard. Character summary. Oh, this would have been better at the beginning, I'll be honest. Just so we had it there. So yeah, ultimately, just nine simple steps to create your character, envision your character, choose a name, set the stats, set your health, spirit and supply, set the momentum, choose up to 3 background bonds, 3 assets, make a note of any important equipment, and then set a background vow and give it a rank of extreme or epic. And then envision your exciting incident. And there you go. And that's it. That's all we're going to have time for this evening. We're going to do quite a bit though. And it's obviously going to talk about the different moves. I'm just going to see. Let's have a look, see what are the... So this is the rules summary you can get on this great little page here. Again, this is part of the Ironsworn play kit. I recommend that. Have a look at all these different moves. Okay, great. I was going to say, are they going to cover lots of them? But they said they had 4 different types of moves. We have adventure moves, we have relationship moves, got combat moves, and then suffer moves. Oh, and then you got quest, and then you got quest and fate moves. Oh, okay. Ultimately, let's see. Let's have a quick look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 adventure moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7 relationship moves, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 combat moves. And there's other moves there as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 suffer moves. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quest moves, I think. Yeah, it must be. And 1, 2 fate moves. That is a lot of moves. Yeah, you'd need to print these out. Hopefully there are obvious, I don't know what is the difference between strike and clash. Have a look, see. And you have the initiative in attack in close quarters, and they have the initiative. Okay, again, that feels very similar to me. Obviously, we're not looking at it in great detail, because obviously we've not had time to do that. But that's the thing, when you've got so many moves, I hope it's obvious what they are for. You know, like you can instantly go, oh, this is definitely I don't know, a forge a bond move versus a compel move. You know, this is definitely I don't know, a secure advantage versus a gather information move. Because that's the thing, is that you need to make it obvious, because otherwise there's all these rules that can be very, oh sorry, that's too far out. That are so nitty gritty. And sometimes you're like, oh, which one's better? It's a bit like City of Mist. They have the same thing where they only have, I think, was it 7, 8 moves, and then 2 of the moves are very, very similar. And obviously, depending on the circumstance and the different situation you're in, it depends on which one it would dictate which one you would move. But sometimes it's very tricky as a GM to figure that out. So just it's a lot here. But let's go back to the top. So, what do we think of it? It's one of those games. I like the mechanic of it. And I like the idea that you have different roles for the action role and the progress role. I think it's quite mean, only giving you certain like ticks for certain progress stuff. But obviously, again, each their own. It's well written. I think it's very accessible in that front. It feels there's a lot to it, and I don't know. It's very much like saying, well, the Oracle stuff you don't have to use, and I feel like, okay, that's fine. That's whatever I think works. I don't have to necessarily go and use those prompts, but it's nice I got the option to do that. And I feel like quite a lot of the book has those tables as well for inspiration, which is great. Really like that. I don't know how I'd find this playing this solo versus to having a game of it. I feel like if I was recording it for where it would take a long time to do it, like I'd have to edit it down quite a bit as I look up various rules and stuff. But then that's the thing, maybe you just get into it and it kind of doesn't matter in the end. But it seems very straightforward to make the character, at least. Obviously we didn't get to like what kind of prompts you can make for your background vow and like making new vows. So that'd be interesting maybe to read the example. If there's in the example it shows, oh, this is a time where you would make a new vow, like, and what does that mean? And could you've only got up to 5 vows, can you not have more? Do you have to complete, is it like a side, when you're like, oh, there's always side quests I need to finish off on the side bar, I'll get back to them at some point. Do you have to like complete those? It's interesting. I'm intrigued. I think ultimately, like I like the mechanic for sure. I think it's a different mechanic and a little bit of thought goes into it. But otherwise it's straightforward, and I love the idea. I'm always a big fan of doubles, using doubles and things. Yeah, I'm gonna have to read more into it, and maybe I'll look into the final bits. I'm just gonna see if I scroll down and look at the. So much to it, and it's great. Actually, I think that's really great. Yeah, it goes into lots of detail. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. So it does go into detail about the different moves. Oh, and initiative. Didn't even get to combat. Oh no, what a shame. And then the world itself, and giving that setting. Setting goes, it goes for. Well, it's not too much in the setting. It's like ultimately what, 22 pages only, compared to explaining all the different moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so much then. We didn't even look at pay the price stuff really. And then of course bows and encounters and stuff. So there's so much to it. Just seeing some of these names like Bone Walker, no thank you. An Iron Revenant, that could be interesting. And then yeah, all these pages. Look, there's 19 different sort of tables, which is pretty wild, and also ways to create your own one. And then in depth a bit more to it, so that could be quite interesting to look at. So overall, I think I'm intrigued. There's more to it, but I feel like I don't know if I'm already thinking, God, there's so much for me to remember as a solo person. But I will say these assets, are pretty useful to have. They're quite nice and clear. I like how you can upgrade your stuff. That's pretty good. And ultimately, what, 11 pages is this play kit? That's not too bad. Have everything together, practice, worksheets, etc. I kind of hope, I mean, maybe there's someone that's already made a digital version of this stuff, because then if it's automated to an extent, that would be really helpful. But yeah, interesting. Right, I've waffled on enough now. Let me go back to, move my tea. It's a big Fiona face. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me for this. Oh gosh, over 2 hours. I'm so sorry. It's late where people are. But thank you so much for coming along and helping me read through this particular book. Like I said, I'm in two minds about it. The stuff I really enjoy about it, but I just feel there's a lot for one player. But again, as with always, if you play these things, you probably get excited about them. So there's definitely lots to dig into here and be really juicy about it. I just guess for content, if I was making a content list, I would want to be really familiar with this particular rule set, so that it's not just me looking at a page for ages going, I don't know, and being boring on stream. So there you go. But if you're like, Fiona, that was interesting, do you have any other stuff? I'm like, yes. Yes, I do. So I run What Am I Rolling, which is a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast. We explore lots of different RPG systems. We also do some solo actual plays. We've not done some for a little while. Maybe I'll take the plunge and finally do an Ironsworn RPG, because I know that's been on my list for a little while, just because everyone keeps talking about how great it is. And I definitely see the potential for it there. But if you're like, Fiona, there is only one RPG to rule them all. And I'm like, all right. There's the DM's Book Club, which is a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons & Dragons and discuss how we might include them in our role-playing campaigns. And equally there, we've done some solo stuff where we read through like a choose-your-own adventure and pick pick the different options and see where we can go for our adventure. We've done 2 of those, I think. But we've also got some one-on-one D&D as well, which is wrapping up the mortuary adventure that I did with my co-host Hamilton, who was here earlier, which is really nice. So just check this out. There's something a little bit different. And if you're like, oh, Fiona, where can I find more about your opinions? And tell you that you're wrong in the nicest way possible. Well, we've got a little community on Discord. It's What Am I Rolling and DM's Book Club, and a whole range of us are there who are just like talking about RPGs. And so come and check us out there. We are lovely and friendly and all the good stuff. And finally, obviously, tonight we've been discussing, make sure you've got it, we've been discussing Ironsworn, the RPG by Sean Tomkin. That is their name, right? I've just not completely... Tomkin, yeah. Sorry, completely lost. By Sean Tomkin. You can get this particular thing for free. This is the thing, it's a lot of work that's been put into this in both the play kits and these assets, etc., and the world book. We didn't even get to look at the world book, really. It's all for free. You go to Ironsworn RPG, which is the link I put in the chat, but also you can get to itch.io and download there, and they're all free. It's just like the expansion, the Ironsworn Delve, and the Starforge, which go off in a bit more detail. But check it out. Honestly, one of the more interesting RPGs I've definitely read for a little while. So lots to think about. With all that out of the way, I'm going to move my cup of cold tea. And I'm going to go to the ending screen button here. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, everyone. Probably won't be back until in the new year. We'll do some more tabletop. Too long didn't read tabletop RPGs. And probably won't be this late. But I'm hoping to get a schedule out at some point. But have a wonderful rest of December. I hope wherever you are, you have a nice restful one. Because you deserve it. It's been a bit of a year, hasn't it? So I'm going to wave awkwardly, and I'm going to find the button, and I'll say goodbye for now. Bye for now.